Grant, it's difficult, but if you want it to be easy, a couple things to do. Number one, go to confession. Because ultimately, purity is a gift from Jesus Christ. He'll give it to you if you ask for it with a sincere heart. Go to confession. And some people are like, dude, I'm not going to go to confession. I don't want to talk to some priest. Look, go near confession. Look at your friends when they go in there, then you look closely in their eyes when they come out. They look like $1 million. You know that TV show they have called Pimp My Ride? Where someone drives in, they got this nappy little car that's like squirrels living in the glove compartment. An exhibit pimps it out and they get 40-inch rims. Like, that's what happens in confession. It's like, pimp my soul. I know that's not the best analogy, but theologically this happens. So don't run from mercy. Go to confession. My wife and I go to bed every 2 weeks to go to confession. Second thing, never leave the Mass. My wife and I go to Mass every day of the week. Because every grace I need to love her, I get straight from the most blessed sacrament. Never leave the Mass. Spend time in Eucharistic adoration. Third thing is huge, is devotion to Our Lady. The Rosary is the bomb. Like, as a guy, you look at porn, dude, it takes like 5 seconds to look at porn. Then it takes like 15 years to forget what you saw. So for me, it was devotion to Mary that taught me how to look at a girl again. And they got bunches of free rosaries on the way out. There's a bunch of other free stuff they have back there too. Number one, we wrote a couple books for you guys. I wrote a book called Pure Love for the guys and girls. I wrote one for the guys called Pure Manhood. And in this is a survey I did of 1,000 high school and college girls. What do they want in a man today? And my wife wrote a book for you girls called Pure Womanhood. There's a little picture of her on the back there. So if you feeling fine, you're looking fine. So she's on there. And in the middle of the book, my wife wrote for you girls what's called her dump hymn list, okay? It's a dump hymn list. 15 things. If the guy has any of them, you just basically say goodbye, don't let the door hit you with the good Lord split you, okay? So that's the dump hymn list. So that's in there. Also, we've made for you guys little chastity commitment cards. It's kind of like an ATM card, but you can't get money out of it, so it's like mine, but you can sign it and date it. My friend got one in high school. He started over, signs it, dates it, puts it in his wallet, went to my college, met my friend Jenny, they fell in love, started dating, got engaged. One day, his card fell out of his wallet. She's like, what's that? He's like, nothing, give it to me. She's like, no. She goes, oh, it's a purity pledge card. And he's like, yeah. She goes, I signed one of those in high school too. He's like, for real? She digs into her purse, they pulled them out, put them next to each other. They had signed the same type of card on the same year, of the same month, on the same day, years before they ever met. Now, this isn't a coupon for a husband, but it's a good place to start, so we got a bunch of those. And at the bottom of the card is our website. It says Pure Love Club, but we just bought a new website. Easiest one on earth to remember. You just heard a chastity talk, so our website is chastity.com. That's it, chastity.com. If you were sitting here today thinking, man, I wish my friends could have come to the talk today, take them to the website. They can watch the talk for free 24 hours a day. If you got questions after hearing the talk, well, what do I tell my boyfriend about what you said? Or when should I start dating? Or how do I know if I'm infected with HDTV? Or what's that virus again? So what we did, took all your questions, put the answers on the website. Girls, alternatives to pill for medical reasons. We've got doctors online. All kinds of stuff like that. You can get there. And then there's a couple things they got for sale. Number one, I wrote a book called If You Really Love Me. And what this is the top 100 questions we get from high school students on like how to say no, how to stay strong, and all that stuff. So we got a bunch of those, they're like $10 or whatever in the back. So we give a free book to whoever there. And then let's see what else we got. There's one called YNFP, and this one's for like engaged couples or newlyweds, if you know anyone's a good present. Now, Crystal couldn't come with me today to do the talk, so we brought a recording of her on DVD. So if you're a parent, your teen wasn't here, duct tape them to the couch, make them watch this. Or you can show it to your future ex-boyfriend. And then we also have a retreat I did for guys. It's a 5-hour retreat for guys on how to break free from porn and lust and all that stuff. So this is a retreat for guys, the Pure of Heart one. A couple last things. We got how to stay Catholic in college. All the booklets I'm waving around, all those are free, but the books are for sale. And 2 last things. I wrote a curriculum for youth leaders in schools and churches called Theology of the Body for Teens, taking John Paul II's wisdom and bringing it down to a high school level. And the last thing is this. Mother Teresa said purity is the fruit of prayer. So I wrote a prayer book called Pure Faith, and it's all for teens, and it has all these prayers mostly written by Catholic saints. How to get ready for confession, Mass, how to pray the Rosary, all that stuff. So these are for sale in the back, so I'll throw one out there. There you go. And so all that stuff is for sale. There's even a little donation thing to help the Archdiocese offset the cost for stuff. So all that stuff is there. But the best thing I have to give you guys is this. As of today, I have tons of people praying for you. I've written letters to over 100 convents of nuns. That's like the ammo of the church right there. I've asked them to pray. I want more. I wrote a letter to Pope John Paul II a couple years ago. He had all these nuns that got his mail. It's kind of like the elves at the North Pole is the same concept. And I wrote a letter, and I got confirmation from the Vatican that John Paul the Great did, and I know still does, pray for the people you speak to on chastity. And he's praying for you. Last place I spoke was in Texas, and I asked a bunch of students down there in Munster, Texas, to be praying for you guys. And I'll ask you, please pray for the students I speak to. This week I'll be speaking between now and Wednesday to about 5,000 high school students. I beg your prayers, not just for me and them, but for you. Do you understand, if you're going to get married one day, theoretically, I could speak to some of your future husbands or wives. You never know what lifestyle they could be in today. I know a girl 15 years old, middle of the night woke up, I need to pray for my future husband. Prayed and went to bed. Years later, they met and got married. She said, honey, I prayed for you when I was 15. And he's like, oh, thanks. And she says, look, there it is in my diary. He said, I used to have a journal back then. Let me see how I was up to. Finds the journal, dusts it off. He goes, hey, that's the year I was in the war, because he was a veteran. She said, what does it say that night? He said, honey, the night you prayed for me was the night when the enemy troops came across our lines. They slaughtered almost every man in my platoon, and they spared me. So, thanks for your prayers. Prayers are good. Prayers are good. So, I'll beg your prayers to the students I speak to. I know I said a lot today about future husband, future wife. But some of you are being called to a higher vocation. Some of you ladies in here, some of you girls have been given hearts by God that will never be fully satisfied with any human love. You long to be loved by Christ as your spouse. Open your heart to the religious life to be a sister. Some of you guys may be called to the priesthood. You guys see the priest wearing black? You ever wonder why a priest wears all black? It's like, gee, Father, that's kind of goth. You watching too much Harry Potter? What's going on there, man? A priest, bishop, they wear black because black means death, and it means a guy who chose to die to himself to be a father to us, to open your heart to that vocation. You can learn more about the vocations on our website too. And I know I said a lot today about boyfriend and girlfriend. I know most right now, most of you don't have a boyfriend, don't have a girlfriend. I say, good for you. Don't be like me. I started dating in the 5th grade, 10 years old. One girl back then actually broke up with me because I forgot that I was dating her. I mean, you talk about high maintenance, how much could you ask for? So, and you guys are under like this ridiculous pressure. Oh, you gotta have a boyfriend. You gotta have a girlfriend. You don't have a girlfriend? What do you have? Leprosy? Why don't you have one? And like, you guys are under this pressure. You gotta have, it's ridiculous. Don't worry about the pressure. One 7th grade guy came up to me in Michigan. He's like, Jason, can you help me with my relationship question? I'm like, yeah, what's going on? I'm like, he's 7th grade, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, well, here's the situation. He said, I dated a girl for 3 years, and it was pretty serious. We took a year off. Now I like this other girl that she's friends with. I don't know what I should do. Like, I'm doing the math in my head. Okay, this dude's 12. He just took a year off of a 3-year serious relationship, which means the dude was 8 years old in a serious committed relationship. And I'm thinking, like, what are you guys doing on dates? Like, you watching Blue's Clues on a date together? You're like, no. What do you fight about? Well, I watch Dora the Explorer. I watch Steve and Joe. You know, it's like this ridiculous pressure. Take it off yourself. One girl summed it all up. High school girl. She said to me, Jason, you don't go to high school to find your husband. You go to high school to find your bridesmaids. I said, boom, you get it. And so take the pressure off. You get all the time in the world to find love. Now, if I only had 60 seconds to talk to you guys, this is the only thing I'd tell you. If there's only one thing you have to hear the whole afternoon for me, it's all it's got to be. That after hearing my talk today, maybe your heart is heavy, and you know you got some thinking to do. There's only one thing you need to know. It's how God looks at you for doing that stuff. And this is how he sees you. There's a dad a few years ago, dropped his son off at preschool in Armenia. He said, I love you, I'll pick you up after school. Promise, come get you. Dad drove to work. Huge earthquake struck Armenia. Dad shoots the car back to the school, but it was too late. School's collapsed, faculty's dead. Dad shows up. He said, I know my son is in the corner of that school. Starts tearing off the rocks and glass. Digs for an hour. 5 hours. His knuckles are bleeding open. His back was cramped up. He dug for 10 hours. People started making fun of him. Give up. It's ridiculous. They're gone. Accept it. Dug for 20 hours. Like you guys, fathers, one day you dig for kid forever. 30 hours. And he said, all I was thinking as I dug for my child is a promise I always made to him. No matter what happens, I'm always going to be there for you. 38 hours later, shoved the boulder off, and then under that was the face of his son. And he looked down upon his son, and his son looked up to him and said, Papa. And his son turned to 14 kids who were trapped alive with him and said, see, I told you my daddy was coming to get me. I told you he promised that this is the love of the Heavenly Father in confession, and all he says to you is welcome home. You guys have been an awesome audience. I love you guys. Have a beautiful life. Thank you.